Okay, so this is a trick that I've been performing lately, especially when I'm asked to do a trick for groups of people, a little bigger groups. It kind of has a nice flow the way the trick works. So that's one thing that I kind of like about it. But basically what it's doing is, instead of just doing 4 pick a card tricks, it's a nice way to incorporate sort of an overall plot to your routine without, instead of just pick a card, pick a card, pick a card, pick a card, which is kind of a nice change. So basically that's why I've been doing this trick lately. But what we'll do, have somebody pick a card to start, just one. Let's just say that they pick this one right here, King of Clubs. Lose it back into the pack, cut the deck around a little bit, give it a quick shuffle. Great, so this is, first in a sequence, so they're not knowing what to expect, and the first trick is very fast. The card just jumps right out of the pack at them. Awesome. We'll have them pick another one. Let's say they just stick that card in there, and we take the card that's right next to it as well. Okay, cool, we got the 2 black kings. What we'll do, put one in there, cut it around a little bit just to mix the deck some. We'll put the other one in right about there. Awesome. And that being done, we're going to try to find both of those cards in the exact same moment. So looks like this, 1, 2, and 3. I've got both of those kings right back with me. Awesome. I have another card selected. We'll just ask them to say stop. Say they say stop right there. And the card is the King of Hearts. How about that? And we'll lose the king back into the middle. Awesome. Great. And I'll give it a quick shuffle at this point. And then what we're going to try to do is we're going to take both of these kings and we're going to try to find your King of Hearts with the other 2 kings. And it looks something like this. Just like that. I believe that's the King of Hearts. Awesome. So give the deck one last mix before the last card is selected. And let's just say they touch this one right here. Oh, lucky us. So there we go. We have all 4 kings. But what we're going to do is take the kings and we're going to lose them back into the back of the pack. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. We're going to put them back into the middle of the deck and push them in. Great. Square them up a little bit. And then we're just going to leave them in the center, like so. Great. So basically the idea here is that we're going to try to find all 4 of the cards in the exact same moment. So it's going to be tough, but we're going to give it a try anyway. So it looks something like this. And I believe I just found all 4 cards, just right there. So that's the trick. Okay, to start off, let's just clarify that this is a big old battle trick. It's going to take some chops, so to speak. This is definitely not an entry-level trick. So, and I'm not going to go into uber detail. I'm basically going to explain how the overall framework works in the last production specifically. But, so I've taught most of the other things in previous videos. So, you go and watch everything I've produced and then watch this one. Anyway, so just assuming you have a basic understanding of some card moves. So first off, I'm also going to teach this nice little way to control 4 of a kind. Okay, the important part of this is that you have a reason to look through the deck, and you also need to make sure your spectator has no idea that you're looking for 4 cards. So don't say we're going to do a trick with 4 cards and then start looking through the deck, okay? One thing that I like to do is if I'm going to control the 4 kings, what I do is I'll do it the trick before. So I'm about to do an ambitious card routine, and I say, here, I want you to pick a card out of the pack. And then what I'll start doing is I'll start collecting my kings, and then they can pick out a card. I'll say, yeah, you could have picked any card. Right now I've got 3 kings in my control out of the pack. So why don't you show that to your friends And then what I can do is just say, okay, let's do the trick. And we're going to start on an ambitious card routine now with their card. But I collected the 4 kings to the top. And basically what that is doing is, instead of even if they're suspicious of the 4 kings being collected, they'll have no idea by the end, but after you've done a trick in between, that you collected the 4 kings. And then, ambitious card routine, you can usually keep the top stack controlled pretty easily. So that's the sort of thing you want to do, is make sure that the important thing is it's easiest to follow somebody when they don't think they're being followed, as I just read today in some Lemony Snicket book. Anyway, so that's the goal. All right, now on to how this works. I just go through it, and this is a really, really basic. I just came up with this and tried it and it seemed to work. I go until I see my first king. Then I just pull off and gesture. Then I go until I see my next one. And all I do is I take this, my thumb, push up, and send that king to the bottom, send all the other cards to the top. So from this angle, you can see I'm putting the cards to the top until I see that king, and I just put it to the bottom, and then keep putting more cards to the top. And every once in a while, even when there's no king, I'll just break off to stay consistent. So there's the cards there. Okay. Then I'll send the king to the bottom, put the other cards on top. That's how it works. 4 kings on top. Okay? So it doesn't always, it's not always easy. Sometimes if there's like in my performance, there's 1 card separating 2 kings. I just collected all 3, and then I did some cuts to get rid of the card in between them. So you got to improvise and stuff like that. But basically, if the kings are well spread throughout the deck, that's what it looks like. Okay, great. So now we have the kings on top. Okay, they don't know that though. And we're going on with the trick. I'll just give the deck a shuffle. I'm not going to teach the classic force. You could just do a simple force like this, where you hold a break, have them say stop anywhere, and then you just pick up from that break. All right. So that's the classic riffle force. But basically, I'd say no 5 or 6 solid card forces. Card forces are awesome. I use them all the time. Okay, no card forces. Look them up. The classic force, or the fan force sometimes it's called, is so this is the first one. Force this card. King of Diamonds. What's nice is you have 4 for them to choose from. They can choose any of these 4. But anyway, you force this card. That's all you need to know. What you're going to do, take the card, leave, and then cut it into the middle. And basically, you're just going to do a control cut. I'm not going to teach one there. Do a double undercut, whatever. Send your card to the top with it. Okay, whenever you give the deck a shuffle, which you can from time to time, make sure to keep that top 4 stock together, because we can't lose those. Okay, great. First card, do top pop. Just look it up. Here's the second one I taught. Top pop, really nice production, good snappy one to start off. Great. Ask them to hold on to that. What I'd like to do is Matthew Abish's the force, and I didn't buy that. I just sort of watched it and figured it out. But it's to force a second card, and it kind of works well with both of those. And then you could either put them back together or apart, but we'll just put them back together for now. Okay, control these, and you're going to control 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Okay, 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. This one's kind of nice to do a shuffle with, because if you put them in together especially, just make sure to keep your top and bottom stock the same. Then you're going to do this little move most people know. Okay, 2 down. Going to leave those out of the pack, and at this point I usually do this force, say stop. Great. Push it forward, and you're going to drop a card on top right there. Do this little move. At this point, it's kind of going to be interesting that we have the 4. They realize we've got 3 kings by now. But basically, you're going to control this one at the top as well. Make sure we still have both of those. Take both of these bad boys. And then I like to do just this move. If you want to do something a little fancier, that's fine. But if you want to, send the kings down to the pack or something like that, then you can do that as well. But basically, you're going to do a sandwich move of some sort. Okay. Sorry for being so general. I'm not usually, I try not to be like this, but this is a more advanced trick. So I'm assuming you have this knowledge. Great. We've got 3. And now this is the big one, and I like to do the classic force again for this one. And this is how it works. Keep a break above it, and as you go down, what I do is just ask them to touch a card, and it doesn't matter if they touch it or not. If they do touch it, great, you found the fourth one. If not, I just keep a break at that card, and let's say they touch this one, and I hand them their card, and I just pick up right where this is. And I'll say, oh, we didn't get the king, but I would really like to have 4 kings. Then I just do the shake change. Okay? Picking up 2. Alright, so that's basically how, so if they pick it, great. If not, just collect it, move the king to the top, and do the shake change. So it works either direction. Really doesn't matter. Alright, we're going to try to put these back in, and what I like to do is a nifty little control here. You put them each in 4 different locations. Okay, spread through, emphasize the separation in the pack. Then I put them a little off to the side. Push them sideways. Make sure your thumb's on that corner. I'm going to try to do this without covering. Basically, push them sideways, and then after they're down here, you square it up at the bottom. And then a good way to cover this, since you have a big old break there, is to take the deck and to tap it on the top like this, or tap it on the table. Just pretend to be squaring it up. Alright, you can riffle through it or whatever. But their cards are moved in the middle, and then what you're going to do is just sort of push down a little bit from here. So we have our 4 kings. What we want to do is move this packet over. So I usually, after I'm in this position, these are pretty well hidden in my hand. It's pretty much, angle, very good angle there. You pull down this top one so it's level with these 4, and then you're going to strip out all 4 of these and do a couple of cuts. Okay, there you go. This sends 4 kings to the bottom. 4 kings on the bottom. So then what you're going to do is you're going to cut the pack a couple times. Just cut it, once. And you're going to slide one of these kings like that. Okay, now this doesn't need to be noisy, it doesn't need to be moved. Just need to be a slight like this. Okay, so this is how it looks. From the upside down, you just slide off this king. You do a wrist kill so they can't see it. And then you square up. So when it's done well, or well-ish, it looks like this. Alright? Then you're going to drop 1, 2, 3 on top of that, and then just sort of undercut them, or do some sort of cut. So they think they're lost in the middle, whereas we have 3 on top and 1 face down. Then the production works like this. You're going to need to know the top pop. You're going to pick up 2 cards, just thumb them like this. You're going to hold them just like this. Okay? You know the old mismag turnover move that a lot of people do. But basically you're going to hold 2, you're going to push forward on this card, let it flip out into top pop, and then turn these over and split them like so. So the way it looks is just like this. Boom. All 4 in one moment. And that's basically how the trick works. So let's go through the whole thing one more time though. Okay, so we control the 4 kings at the top. If you can. Classic force. You have 1 of 4 options, just to get them to touch. Alright. Have that card. Gonna put it in above the 4 kings. Just cut it around. It's good to shuffle this one in a little bit more than the others, as the shuffling will get boring quickly. Alright, it's cut in. Then you're gonna do the top pop. Oops. Alright. Nice display there. Ask them to hold that. The force, or just another force if you like. But through there. If you want to make it the face down card, that's fine too. So now we got our kings here as well. Okay. I'm going to take both of the kings, put them back, put a break over one of them. So this means we're going to send our 2 kings, 1 to top, 1 to bottom. Give them a shuffle, maintaining the top and bottom stock. Boom. They're the kings. Awesome. Just riffle break force. They say stop. Pick up wherever. The king. Turn it over. Push it forward and drop 1. So there's 1 card above it. Stick that single card in, and then move our kings to the top. Like this. They think their card's lost. Take both of the kings. Get a little break while you're grabbing them as a distraction. Square up, pick up all 3. Then Ishkabil. Anyway, get the card. One last one. Do the classic force. But if they touch a different card, that's fine. So let's say they touch the card. It's theirs. If they don't touch it, well, you touch that one. It's not your card. And then just a little shake change. Great. So now we have all four. You put them in the middle. Different spots. Make sure to just pretty evenly space them out. It just looks better. Show the cards throughout. Push them a little bit to the side. Push them through. Square up. Cut the pack like this. Then move this pack down. And usually it'll just sort of slide down by itself. Usually get away with that. And then you're going to strip out all four of these. Cut them in. Get the card on the bottom. Take a little bit off the top. Slide that card face up. And then count 3. Give it a couple more cuts. Move the cards to the top. Ready for the last one? Say, okay everybody, I'm going to find all 4 cards in the exact same moment. Looks like this. Pick up 2. And I missed. Sorry. Pick up 2. Boom. So this one is being pushed forward slightly to the top pop. These 2 are being turned over and split very quickly. Now notice they usually will come off like this. So what I like to do is bend the top pop so you get sort of this back and forth angled motion, because it's not going to come out perfectly like this. So this actually even makes it look a little bigger, just as a mental illusion. So pick up 2. Boom. And there it is. You have all 4 cards. There's the 4 kings found. So thanks for bearing with me, and practice it, and it'll be a very rewarding trick.